Part of the chapter this week covered this division of our application programming into three different sections: the views and the controller and the model. The views and the controller we've played around with already. The views have to do with buttons and things like that that were on our form. And then it talks about that the user interacts with these views, pushes a button or does some type of a gesture, and then it goes to the controller, and the controller does something, and then up until now it basically went back in again and changed somehow the view. It would say correct or something like that. We're going to add this new thing called a model, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a class that we're going to make objects of. It's going to be a question, and we're going to get true or false as the answer. But this model is going to hold those pieces of information for us. And so the controller is going to go out there and get this information. It's going to do something with it, and then it might pass it back to views again. They say it's important to break down your application into things like this because otherwise it's like this huge model mess of stuff. And this way you can kind of organize it like maybe you will your kitchen. The assignment this week, we took and we added a couple different things. The same geo quiz, of course, but we ended up adding this button at the bottom, okay, right here. And what that does allows us to go to the next question. And so you're going to be adding this section right here, right there. And then strings. It had us add a bunch of different strings. And that's these right here, okay? And what we did is we added a bunch of questions here, and it refers to these questions when it in our layout view. And then we have quiz activity, which we've done once before. And but this time what we're doing is we're adding an array of class. This array is of this question right here, this question here, and it actually stores two different things. One is actually I'm not really sure how it does this, but it actually stores an integer value for the current question. And then it also stores a true or false. I talked about it in another video, but this is your constructor. What a constructor does is when you create a new instance of this question, you can give it two pieces of information. The first one is this integer value. The second one is this Boolean, true or false. When we do that, it takes and stores information inside these two private variables. We also have what they call gets and sets. Gets and sets allow us to get at these private variables. We don't use the sets. We aren't actually setting values in here this time, but we are getting them. When we want to ask the question, we have to actually get this information, so we use this get RESID. If we look at our new or continued program, we took and we added two different things here. We have to add a private button and this text view. And the text view, what that does is that actually references that current question text view that we have. But we have to name it here so that inside of our code we can tell it, okay, make it this question, okay, now make it the next question, and things like that. Let's see, here we're actually creating an array now of our question. Say private question array, and then we're going to call it M question bank. That's the name that we refer to it later on. And that's equal to a new, and we have to say a new because we're going to construct new, and we're going to say a new question array. And then we have an opening curly brace. Here's your closing curly brace down here. What that does is that allows us to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new questions, and we put it inside the question bank. You notice here it actually feeds it this string, but what it does, it goes out there and looks to see which string that is, which string variable that is in our strings.xml and comes back with a number of that question, and it tells it to put true in there. You know, so we're doing that 5 times, and so we're actually creating those. Now, if we actually wanted to get at one of these, we'd actually say M question bank square brackets, and we would go from 0 to 5 or 4, excuse me, depending on which one of these we want. They call them indexes. If we said 0, we'd be getting the first one. If we said 4, we'd be getting the last one. Notice how it doesn't start with 1, it starts with 0. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We create a variable here called mCurrentIndex is equal to 0. What that does is keeps track which question we're on. We start out at 0, and then we increment that. We tell it, okay, be 1 now, be 2, be 3, be 4. You'll see that code in just a minute. We create 2 methods here. The first one is update question. What happens is we do it 3 places in here where we want to update our question, and updating the question changes that text view and puts a new question in there. Notice that we start out creating a variable of integer type because we have to get what is the number of that next record, and then we actually say, okay, text view m question text view dot set text, and go ahead and put that information in there. We created another method. I didn't put any remarks in here yet. I guess I forgot, but we created another one that checks the answer, and notice that it receives the person pressed the true button or the false button. In here, it's saying that the Boolean, creating a variable of Boolean true false type called answer is true is equal to in M question bank. Notice here we aren't using a number, we're actually using this variable that's somewhere between 0 and 4, depending on where we are in our program. And we're receiving, now we're getting that is answer true. So that's actually returning, is that question a true or a false? And so we're creating this variable now that's going to be equal either true or false depending on what the answer is for that question. And then we have to create this variable here because we use that inside here. We're going to say if the user press true is equal to the answer. In other words, if they press true, then if the answer is true, then go ahead and tell the message RESID is equal to correct. Otherwise, if not, if these aren't the same, then it's going to do incorrect. And then we have to take and put that in our toast make text this, and then here's that where you're putting the answer in there, true or false, like that. A lot of this stuff is the same. We really haven't changed it. Here I got rid of some code because we're using an update question. Okay, we're calling this method up here that updates our question. So when we actually create this program, okay, it automatically updates the question for us. Here, once again, we're calling our button, but this time we get rid of this right here, and we actually use the check answer method up here, okay, to display either correct or incorrect in this text view. Notice the false button does the same thing. And then we have a next button, okay, we have to code our next button here, and let me see if there's something missing here. There's a 1 line missing there, but we say, okay, make that equal to the next button. And then we have to put a listener for when they click on that button. And if they click on that button, then we say, okay, this variable that starts out at 0, make that equal to the value +1. And this is really cool right here because what they're doing here is they're saying modulus my question bank dot length. So 5, it would be 5. So what that does starts out with 3. 3 modulus 5 is 3. And if it goes to 4, 3 modulus 4 is 4. But then if it goes to 5, what's 5 modulus 5? It's back to 1 again, so it automatically loops it back to 1. I've never done it like that before, but it's pretty cool. And once again, you're seeing that we're updating this question twice here. A little overview of our program. Hopefully it helps you.